Hi, welcome into this SBA EIDL loan forgiveness and deferment 1% interest rates, deferring payments for another year, completely forgiving the accrued interest on your EIDL loan, and so much more, as in how to get up to 5 million in an SBA 7A loan alternative, as well as private lending options. I will be jumping into the share screen momentarily to go through some of these. But before I do, welcome in once again. My name is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions. I am a business loan broker expert who's been able to help a lot of business owners of different backgrounds and industries get the right type of financing so they can finally push forward for long-term success. Now, let me know if you're watching right now with the hashtag live or hashtag replay if you'll be watching later on. I hope you're having a great Monday and that your weekend was great. Mine was. I got to watch the new Halloween movie. Not sure if you guys have seen that or are into scary movies. I thought it was decent. And besides that, had a lot of great food with family. My younger brother is getting a home, so congratulations to him. But let's get into things. So what's happening with the forgiveness? Perhaps what's happening with the deferment? So there's still a lot of going on with the administration and an SBA Administrator Guzman, as well as with the Senate and a few other pieces together, where they're trying to come to a place where can we completely forgive the accrued interest rates? A lot of business owners right now are having a very hard time making the payments because of the interest rates. And I know this month and even next month, for a lot of you, you have the payments coming up through your CAF system as well as pay.gov or however your preferred method of payment is. So make sure you go through that. I'll leave a video for you down below in case you haven't seen how to go through all of that and get it set up. By now you should. And then I also made a video recently on the SBA EIDL with Hurricane Ian, as well as a few others that I'll link you to down below. So I won't spend too much time on that. But if you want details on how to get started, extra information, make sure to look for that piece of content down below. Now, the deferment. A lot of us are asking and pleading and begging. We're going through our SBA constituent advocate, the senators. We're sending letters. We're getting back to our loan officers, and the word is being spread that we want to defer this as long as possible. Can we do this for at least another 6 months, if not another 12 months, a year plus? And it's not enough with what we've been given for a lot of industries, and the data is there to back it up, specifically with restaurant owners. And if you haven't been listening to my content recently, I spoke about how restaurant owners are battling and trying to fight dropping those 3.75% interest rates down to about 1%, and how that could possibly affect every other industry who's received an SBA EIDL loan. So I won't spend too much time on that. Now, aside from the forgiveness that we're still trying to see if it goes through, as well as the deferment, I want to take your attention away from the SBA EIDL loan for a second, which I'm going to jump into the share screen. And I'm going to show you an alternative up to 5 million that you can also get incredibly fast. And you can also get bridge funding in the meantime. But before I do, just know that the EIDL is not your only option. I get it is used for COVID relief. You're struggling to make payments. Your expenses are rising. Perhaps your revenue isn't. And you're wondering, what is another option for me? Well, there are plenty of them, and I'll list just a few of them now before I go into the share screen. You have personal loans. I know that's not underneath your business, specifically if you have business credit established, and specifically if you don't have proper personal credit, that is something you will want to work on, because you want to have, at least on your FICO 8, FICO 9, about 680, if not a 700 plus FICO. And most business owners who are receiving an EIDL loan just do not have high enough of a credit score. But what other options are available? Perhaps you have well, bad, poor credit. Well, you have other services out there like the cash advances of the world with private lenders. You can try going through a sales-generated platform like a PayPal service where you have sales already generated with them. I wouldn't always recommend those to go to first. You have startup loans, but startup loans are similar to personal loans that you use for your business where you want to have stronger credit. So if you do need help to increase, fix, repair it, then look down below. I have a source for you, some extra tips, and then who I would recommend to get that help with, as well as business credit building. For those of you out here who are looking for alternatives, you may not get what you want because of your personal credit, as well as your business credit. A lot of services and lenders will look at the two and evaluate the two. Now, others will just look at your personal side and disregard your business credit or weigh your personal credit more than your business credit. But if you don't have the two, you're not getting traditional business loans like unsecured term loans without collateral, lines of credit, equipment financing. It's specifically a longer term, past 1 to 2 years in a lot of cases, or 1 to 2 years, if at all. And that's why you're getting declined for these SBA loans on top of the revenue, on top of cash flow, et cetera. But without saying more, let me jump into this share screen. 1 second. So one big alternative, plenty have already heard of, and if you've seen this before in the past, just please stick with me, bear along, and then I will go through some other details. There's a hybrid SBA 7A loan up to $5 million. It's a combination of an express and a standard SBA 7A loan. It can be either or. And just keep in mind, over time, you can get multiple SBA loans. Even if you have an EIDL loan, it wouldn't affect you getting an SBA 7A. Now, over here, the hybrid SBA 7A loan option, it's the best SBA option to get started with if you are profitable with at least 2+ years. Recently is best. Sometimes we look at 3 years of personal and business tax returns. You want to see at least the last 2 years of profitability. Stronger credit is emphasized and need longer time for bigger projects with a greater return on the investment, if possible, please. Long-term, and I'll primarily just use for relief and operational expenses. That can be a percentage of it, whether it's small or big, but you have growth and expansion projects where the lenders will look at your business plan and go, how do you exactly tend to use these funds? And if there's really nothing there that's going to be circumventional on, well, I'm going to grow and expand my ROI at this amount, it can be really difficult for them to justify this in a lot of cases. But before I go any deeper into this, I do want to make mention that I have released a Business Funding Mastery Academy course. And this course is A to Z. It'll show you the fundamentals from top to bottom on what you must know before you get started with an application, to the meat and the potatoes, which are those services, to extra stuff afterwards on what you can conclude on, extra resources, bonus tips, bonus material. And I'll link you to that down below. It is for free right now, but I'm not sure how long I will leave it open. Maybe I'll leave it open for the foreseeable future. Perhaps I won't. This course is worth, literally, if I put a price on it today, it would be worth like about $2,000 plus worth. If not, I can put it for a minimum discount of $197, $597 or so. But again, I'm not charging, but by the time you're watching this, there may be a price for it. And even if there is, it is well worth your time getting in there, because you'll understand not only EIDL loans, you'll understand what other COVID relief situations you can find yourself in, what other services are available. And so look down below in the description. It should be in there, should be one of the very first links. And there will also be the business funding questionnaire form if you want me to see how to get you the best funding option, very personalized and customized email response on that, thoroughly broken down, whether you can qualify for them or not. At least you'll see what's there, a strategic partnership and roadmap, how to build your way from where you are now to where you want to be. So I would fill that one out first, check out the course thereafter, or you can go through the course and then it'll have a button there on some of the modules and lessons where you can go through that questionnaire form. Now, I'm not going to go through each and every bit of this because I already have a separate video. I spoke about this on the SBA 7A loan. So I'm going to quickly go through this and go through a few other services. But the SBA 7A loan, the hybrid, it goes up to $5 million. A business needs to be generating at least $120,000 a year in gross revenue and a 660 plus FICO. That's for the unsecured products as well as the SBA. But realistically, you want to be doing north of 150K, if not 250K for an express loan, up to 350K or even up to 150K, or have north of 300K and 400K, if not 500K. Sorry about all these numbers. And annual gross revenue for standard SBA 7A loan for approvals above 350K. And I know we kind of have to come back and forth, so please rewind if necessary. And a 680 plus FICO, which you may or may not have that. In addition, we will need to see the 3 most recent business tax returns and 3 most recent years and year-to-date financial statements. The SBA goes off primarily off of credit and profitability of your business. So in case I didn't mention this part, so the hybrid, it is 2 separate loans. We can get you what is called bridge funding in the meantime to get you the necessary funds. In the meantime, you're waiting to get approved for an SBA 7A loan. And when you get that SBA 7A loan, if you do, then you can use that to consolidate or use to pay off the cash advance or the term loan, line of credit, et cetera, what you received over here, and put it underneath one if you would like to. So there's a huge payoff there, specifically if you're saying, well, I don't want to have 12 to 15% interest rates, which is a bargain in today's market, by the way, at prime rates being 6.25. By the time you're watching this, we could be looking at about 7% and above, plus 1 to 3 to 7.5, 1 to 4.75% on SBA loans. You're looking at about 10 to 12% anyways. So it is a huge payoff there if you had bridge funding, because let's say you pay about 3 months, 3 to 6 months of it, you may only have 6% interest you're paying on 12% overall. You consolidate that underneath the SBA, you save 6%, 7%, however much that is, which is a huge advantage. Now, I'm not going to go into all the specific details as well as documents, but I'll leave more information down below. Fill out that questionnaire if you haven't, and you'll get a load of options, not only the SBA, whether you qualify for it or not. I will show you that. Now, I have another screen open here that I will get to in a moment, but let me back up here. So what you've seen thus far are the EIDL loan forgiveness situation as well as the deferment. I didn't touch upon Hurricane Ian, and if you've been affected or if you'd like to learn more about that, I'll leave it for you down below in the description. And then thereafter, we went into what is a hybrid SBA 7A loan, how perhaps can you look at getting an SBA 7A, how to position yourself with some of the qualifications, not all of it. But if you would like to see that and more, then I'll have more video content below, as well as fill out that questionnaire form. It'll be very safe and secure in my hands. I'll be able to evaluate, analyze, and give you a proper response back via email on your best funding option and options, thoroughly broken down. And if you have filled that out, please be patient with me. I'll get back to you. It is Monday. I've been quite busy today, and I'll get back to responding emails and questionnaire forms. But that's a good thing. If I get quite busy, it's because people are working with somebody who is credible, who's been doing this, who's also received funding like you, or you haven't. And I've been in your shoes on how hard it actually is to get to that point. And then two, trying to figure out where to turn to, because applying anywhere and everywhere is not a strategy. That is hopelessness. That is saying, I don't want this offer, so I'm going to apply to different places and see what they can give me because I'm shopping for the lowest price. That's not the way to look at this. I actually had a business owner the other day saying that they might get into some troubles. They thought I was sending their information to other lenders, but I wasn't. I sent them an email back. It's been then resolved. But what happens is companies like Experian, the credit bureaus, they have your information. And when lenders or other organizations that I don't participate in this, they'll go in there and purchase your information. They'll see your credit, they'll see all this, and then they'll contact you. That's how they get your information. Unfortunately, this cannot be something that can be avoided a lot of times. It can be if you work with the best lenders. There's a much minimal chance, because even if it were to happen, even if the margins were small, what would happen is I would at least let you know to be careful about it. If anybody else tries to contact you pretending to be like myself or someone else, or they're not, but they're trying to get you because they bought that information from Experian and a few other companies, or their syndication leads. So you have to be very careful about who you give your information to. Even going directly to the SBA is not in your best interest. I have people who still do that, and they come back to me and go, oh, well, I didn't get a preferred lender, or I did, but then my information was shot to other third-party services. A lot of lenders looked at my information, then my credit was pulled multiple times. It's already a hard pull as it is. Do you want multiple lenders to look at it and give you multiple hard pulls? Or would you rather have more of an in-house setup where we can look at a soft pull to begin with, evaluate, and then see if it's worth moving forward? And then you'll know with consent that we can do a hard pull. It's better set up that way. And I have my team behind this, myself included with all of this, who follows up in the underwriting process. So without going any further, just be careful. I have your back. I will help you out. Now, let me go into another tab here, 1 second, and show you this questionnaire form. Oh, not that one. 1 second. Okay, so this questionnaire I've been speaking about will look more or less what you see on the screen. But even before you come to this page, you will likely see this page. And what this will do is then just siphon or push you in a different segment, because I want to make sure I'm communicating with you properly. So non-startup business with 3+ months in business, startup business with less than 3 months, whichever one applies to you, and it'll look like that more or less. You can learn more about me. My site, it is viralfundingsolutions.com. Get the funding your business needs fast. Complete the questionnaire form below to get a personalized and customized email response for your best funding option and options. Plus, you'll get a free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist to get you approved for funding much faster. So you don't have to worry about walking into an application uncertain, wondering if you'll make another mistake, who will collect your information, are they credible, can you even trust them, are they reliable? I work with the best lenders, underwriters, etc., so you wouldn't have to worry about that. Now here, from your name all the way down to any additional notes, it could look a little lengthy, but it really isn't. You can get it, honestly, you can get it done in less than a minute. You can give me some estimates and just try to be as accurate if you can, because that will help me pre-underwrite a file before we go into an application. And again, I'm not pulling credit at this point. I'm not a creditor. I'm using this to see what you would fall into in underwriting, what could be a scenario, how you're increasing your revenue, if you're decreasing in revenue within the last 3 to 6 months. Do you not have that and you want to provide actual assets? Are you looking for an SBA loan situation? Maybe you qualify for multiple services, and then I will let you know. So it'll look like that more or less. It walks you through the process of how it works. It'll be a quick video up there. Hi, Blair. How are you doing? Where are you traveling off to? And you are welcome. I will leave this open for about another minute or two if anybody has any questions. And while that's happening, I will recap and then I will get going. It's not a heavy video today. And as you know, my other video content would normally, if I was going live, probably 30 to an hour's worth. But it is a lot of value packed into it. And for those of you who are watching and taking the time to actually watch these, I greatly appreciate you. You don't know how much it actually really means to me. I envision helping business owners grow. It's not about the money to me. It's about creating the right value so you have the right education to then make that next decision. And if it comes to be some kind of earning that I get, well, that's not what I primarily look at and care about. I care more about you and doing what's in the best interest for you. And that's what I do with my content that's different than anybody else. And this is one of the fastest growing channels. And it is because of you who can discover, continue coming back and feeling like you're worth something than not worth anything, because other business owners, lenders, brokers, agents will try to persuade you and manipulate you and push you down a path. And then you're getting email after emails, phone calls, text messages. They're finding your social media. They're Facebook messaging you, Instagram messaging you. And they just keep trying to harass you. Like, look, I'm getting a phone call on this, maybe from a spammer. I don't recognize the number. And normally when we do have contact, I have your number. Like, I know, hey, it's Blair. Hey, it's John. And then even at times people have gone, how do you know this is me? And I go, well, I take care of people. I am not looking at this as a transaction financially. I'm looking at this as a personal transaction. So on that topic, which without going too far in depth, check the course out, because the beginning content inside of that course will help develop you as a person first, who then needs to become that business owner second, who then needs to get that business funding. If you skip the person you need to become and just looks at this from strictly business, you will miss the point on everything. By the time you and I have communication, you will just go away like Casper the Unfriendly Ghost, like Homer Simpson back into the bushes. And I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't want to deal with friction. I don't want to deal with resistance. So if we can do anything to limit that, and I can show you something, it's bada boom, bada bing. If you have anything you want me to clarify, that's why I do it this way. That's why my processes are set up the way that they are, for you to get the best energy and time efficiency possible and separate the pretenders from the actual action takers. Because there are a lot of people who say something, they'll tell you something just because they want you to hear it and it sounds good, whether they say it vocally or they think about it up here. And it's even worse if you put a time on it. Don't share that information if you cannot commit and actually deliver. Things come up. I get it that we have to reschedule. But if you're doing something like this over and over and over, and no feedback, no open-mindedness, no patience, and my processes are the way they are and they deliver. They work better than about anybody else's. And I've seen what other agents and brokers, ISOs are doing out there. My way is most energy and time efficient, and it helps that I'm an introvert, because I can take time to put these emails together that sometimes don't take a minute, depending on your circumstances. Women-owned business for 30 years. Same team for many years. Awesome. That's a big accomplishment for having 30 years. Not a lot of people can say that. And then most businesses go down underneath 5 years, let alone less than 2 years. In the first, I wouldn't even say year, in the first 3 to about 11 months, that's what is really a big testament of what you can do. And then 30 years for the same team, that is a huge accomplishment, like I said. And it's not very easy to keep the same people, especially those on payroll. And there's been a lot of problems in a lot of different industries with people keeping them on. And kudos to you for doing that. Sounds good. Appreciate you. Thank you, Blair. And safe travels to where you're going off to, as well as anybody else. If you're traveling in the future for the holidays, you're going for Thanksgiving, we'll be here. And for Christmas, please travel safely. The conditions out there this time, right now, it's rainy here in Washington. And who knows if November, December will be snow, but we're preparing for all of that. So what I want to round up this video with, aside from what I just mentioned, there are plenty of opportunities. In fact, I have another share screen here. Let me show you. If you're a startup business or not, there are grant opportunities. As you see on the screen before you, grant opportunities for 2022, and this will be updated per year, per calendar year. These aren't a definite limit of grants. There are more, but will continue to be updated over time. Please add this doc to your favorites via web browser or save this link, and I send it to you there. And then you can see a whole list of them. And I'll keep updating these with more. And this should be down below in the description already. If not, I'll make sure to place it there. And what I do want to make notice of, so many business owners want an EIDL loan alternative. We're all looking for it, but where does it exist, Michael? I've spoken to you. The private lenders won't want to lend to me, or I don't have an attractive enough profile for higher tier funding like SBA loans, unsecured term loans, lines of credit perhaps. Well, you have to look at it at a deeper level. Your core is just fixing the symptoms. When you have back pain issues, a lot of us just mask it with a spray that does not penetrate through the inflammation to clear it. So what we need to do, by the way, I started a business in the health space a long time ago, so I know my stuff when it comes to this. What we need to do is look at the actual diagnosis. Is there a deeper issue, a problem? Is there more behind those tissues, not just inflammation related, maybe a herniated, bulging, degenerative disc? So like that example, you have to take the time to look at your fundability details. And I'm not saying this aggressively or negatively. You heard my tonality come up, which I hardly ever do, or at times I will. But you need to learn that it's not all about just applying everywhere and anywhere. You're applying to an A-tier lender when you're a D-tier lending client. You should be applying to this A-tier lender even if you can't qualify for them. That's not the direction you want to go into for a lot of reasons that I'm not touching upon right now, but they're in other content that I've already made. And so you have to fix your time in business. You have to put your credit score, if it's personal, okay, just personal. Do you need business credit established? If so, what do I need to have on a paydex score? What does my business liquids credit score need to be at? If I need to get an SBA loan, does it look at that for an unsecured term loan? Is it a soft pull or a hard pull with this unsecured term loan lender? I'll let you know these options. And so if you don't even have the business credit and you're looking for a monthly repayment, right there, you're just going to be shot down the drain. Just no lender is going to lend to you an unsecured term loan of a monthly repayment unless you have some type of business credit established and have it reporting not only to Dun & Bradstreet, but the other two major business credit bureaus. Have those reports and have those trade lines, about 3 to 5 plus trade lines built, put them together. And it normally takes about 6 to 8 months to fully have business credit established and have revolving lines and more and built up. But it can take sometimes just underneath 4 months, but not in all cases. Just depends on when you come with, and you leverage your personal credit to help build your business credit to begin with, to get access at least to business credit cards. That's what you would need to leverage, personal credit to get access to business credit cards. And before I get in, I'm not going to get into all the actual like points in different types of business credit cards. I have other content. I'll try to link you to that. But without those things, you may be over leveraged and you have to start somewhere. You have to maybe start off with a cash advance, with a personal loan if you don't have business credit established, but you have stronger credit. So you can't get an equipment loan because you have no credit worthiness. You have thin credit. You haven't built enough even personal credit history. There's no business credit. Nothing's coming through the business for us to determine that we're even capable of lending you any kind of piece of equipment or another part. This is the truth. This is the reality that a lot of us face, but we cannot get over that because we want to continue to find our own way and say, oh, well, he's telling me something. I know there's something different. No. I'm an expert at what I do. I keep in touch with the lenders, the best and the best underwriters. I'm in this world, the trenches, looking at bank statements, tax returns, calculating debt service coverage ratio, net operational income, net income. How does that make a decision upon what you can actually service in terms of debt? How much you can actually take on per month? What's your revenue like? Do you have assets to give up so you can get the funding? What type of assets are we looking at? What type of financing can you realistically get? Is it too niche so we can't look at that, but it's worth an evaluation? It won't hurt just by looking at it, even if it were a soft pull. Real estate financing, investors, I do a lot of that as well. Whether that's a single family, multifamily, we are talking ground up construction with property, commercial property mortgages, land already before all of that, and a lot of different other situations to look at, fix and flips. The list goes on. And you have to have the right information. But if you don't, you have to start somewhere. And even if you don't get the 100,000 you wanted to begin with, you start off with that 20 to 40,000 that you were then approved for. Then you build your way up. And right now, a lot of lenders are not going to lend you the maximum amount that you could have been getting pre-COVID or even during the middle of COVID. But right now, because of this huge inflation and this impending, even huger recession we're getting into, you have to be prepared now. Before winter comes, get your funds ready. Even if it were a term loan, understand how you get to use these funds. If you don't get past 3 to 10 years, you don't get 3 to 10 years, how can I do this with 1 to 2 years? How can I do this with 3 to 12 months? Your ROI, the benefit has to exceed the repayment. Not a lot of us can get past 3 years. Now, if you can, then there's possibly an express loan, standard SBA 7A loan. We're looking at 504 loans, maybe an unsecured term loan between 1 to 5 years, but a lot of lenders do not want to lend past 3 years, unless they were heavy equipment, maybe a form of real estate, securing it with assets. And even at that point, you have to look at the express / SBA standard 7A loan. And then you can combine that with bridge funding. Combine an SBA loans. In the meantime, you get an unsecured term loan, a line of credit, a cash advance, whichever one, and or you can try to add multiple in the meantime while you're getting approved for that. Or if you can't get approved for that, you start here and you don't throw a fit. You ask yourself, now I have to reshuffle my business. I was planning on getting 100,000. I was only getting 20,000. Well, yeah, I can use 20,000 in this part of my business, and then I will turn a profit over. I'm going to be going from about 20,000 a month to about 40,000. So I'm paying back 27,000 on that, however much time I was given. Okay, I can pay it off early too. 40,000 next time I come back, I'll be approved for 50,000, 60,000 or more. Now I'm getting to my 100,000 like I wanted to. Now I can add these services in to that type of funding scenario. So it's not about being closed-minded. It's about opening up your mind and being able to say, hey, sure, I'm starting off with a daily or weekly, maybe a biweekly repayment, but how do I work myself into a monthly repayment? Well, I got to begin here. This is the reasoning why, because my credit isn't where it needs to be. My revenue, my time in business credit is not established. For your industry, accruing more interest, total cost of financing makes more sense to take one of these. And a lot of people, they may not be cash flowing heavily. Others who do cash flow enough and are positive and maybe cash flowing heavily will go, hey, I can afford a daily, weekly repayment. For those of you who can't, those are those business owners who are saying no to it because you do not have positive, or you do, or you have negative cash flow, or it's about to become that. So justifying that you're taking 20,000 and paying back 27,000 when you're barely meeting the minimum, you're not taking this money and it's not going to double, triple, quadruple your return on your investment. You're just going to stay stable. You need it for operational expenses. Your expenses are only growing when your revenue isn't, or it's growing at a slow pace. Well, this is the reasoning why. And you're asking for 3+ years. And you're still questioning why I'm showing you what I'm showing you. So that will conclude everything in this video. I know I said I would shut it down earlier to recap and all of that, but I hope that last bit of information was very helpful. There are alternatives out there. That course is down below, the questionnaire form as well, and all other resources. I will continue emailing those of you who do need to be emailed. And if I have, hey, look into your inbox. If not, I'm going to be reaching out. And I don't harass, I don't heckle, I don't pressure anybody. But don't waste my energy and time if you're that individual who is just here for a good time, not for a long time. I see it as a character flaw. That's something you might have to work on, where, hey, I'm not going to abandon anybody. I have to owe them some respect to at least give them a little bit of feedback, if anything, and say, hey, I'm not interested, or hey, I am interested, but I'll come back in the next month. I'm still reviewing this. I'll get back to you. But with people who go, there's no feedback. I just want to know what's going on. I've sent you information. I took time out of my day and energy to put this together for you, and now you're abandoning everything. That's not what this should be. I focus on building that personal relationship first and then business second. And even as an introvert, it can be very difficult too, but I'm here for you and what you need first and foremost. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with others who you feel will get value out of it. It can be a complete stranger, a friend, or a family member. And if you haven't subscribed, please click that subscribe button and that bell notification icon so you do not miss any future videos I will be coming out with. And there will be a lot more. And this is one of the most valuable channels. And I'm saying that in a very confident, not cocky, I've never been that way, type of way. And it is because of you helping out and you getting the educational content. So again, look down below in the description. That is everything from now, for now. Let's have a great week. Talk soon.